He pulled his badge from his pocket and slammed it on my bench. Metal on wood. The sound echoed through the courtroom. "This badge means I outrank you," he said, leaning forward. "So, let's end this charade right now." 23 minutes later, that same badge was evidence in his arrest. Police Chief Rayford Hutchinson had run Millbrook County like his personal kingdom for 11 years. Population 47,000. Annual budget of $8.2 million. And according to the FBI file on my desk, at least $1.3 million in seized assets that never made it to evidence. I'm Judge Frank Caprio, and in my 38 years on the bench, I'd presided over thousands of cases, drug dealers, con artists, even a senator once. But corrupt cops? They're different. They weaponize the very trust we place in them. The cameras were rolling. Channel 7, Channel 11, and 2 national news crews. They'd shown up because Hutchinson's arrest had leaked the night before. Someone in the prosecutor's office wanted this public. Good. At 9:47 a.m., Hutchinson strutted through my courtroom doors. Not walked. Strutted. Like he owned the place. His uniform was pressed sharp enough to cut paper. 4 commendations pinned to his chest, a Rolex pecking out from under his sleeve. Behind him, 3 of his deputies, all in uniform, all off duty. "Your Honor," Assistant Prosecutor Lorraine Vance whispered beside me during sidebar, "he brought them to intimidate you." I glanced at the deputies. Young, nervous, following orders. "Let him try," I said. The gallery was packed. Hutchinson's wife, Constance, sat in the 3rd row wearing sunglasses indoors. Behind her, 5 business owners I recognized from the civil suits. They'd all claimed Hutchinson had shaken them down for protection fees. But Hutchinson didn't see victims. He saw an audience. He had no idea what was about to happen. "Chief Hutchinson," I said, settling into my chair, "you're charged with racketeering, extortion, and misuse of civil asset forfeiture. How do you plead?" He stood without his attorney. "First, red flag. I don't plead to anything," he said, voice carrying to the cameras. "This is a witch hunt orchestrated by criminals who couldn't handle real policing." His attorney, a sweating man named Russell Pike, grabbed his client's arm. Hutchinson shook him off. "Sit down, Russ," Hutchinson said. "I've got this." That's when he reached into his pocket. The bailiff tensed. I held up my hand. "Wait." Hutchinson pulled out his chief's badge. Solid gold. Badge number 001. He walked straight to my bench. Nobody had given him permission and slammed it down. "This badge means I outrank you. So let's end this charade right now." The courtroom went still. Not silent, you could hear the camera motors whirring, the court reporter's fingers frozen over her keys. At 9:52 a.m., I picked up his badge, turned it over, set it down gently. "Chief Hutchinson," I said, "return to your table." "Did you not hear what I said?" He planted both hands on my bench. "I've been protecting this county since before you put on that robe. Half the people in this room are here because I allowed it." Allowed it? Every business owner, every citizen. They operate because I keep the real criminals away. You think Millbrook stays safe by accident? Prosecutor Vance stood. "Your Honor, the defendant is attempting to—" "I'm explaining reality." Hutchinson cut her off, spinning to face the cameras. "This woman," pointing at Vance, "has been gunning for me since I refused to drop charges on her nephew. Drug dealer. Caught him myself." "That's a lie," Vance said. "Is it?" "Pull the arrest records." Curtis Vance. Her sister's kid. Cocaine possession. I have the paperwork. I studied Vance. Her jaw was set, but she didn't deny it. "We'll address any conflicts of interest separately," I said. "Chief Hutchinson, I'm ordering you to—" "You're ordering me?" He laughed. Actually laughed. "Judge, do you know how many favors I've done for this courthouse? How many times I've made your problems disappear?" The implication hung in the air like smoke. "Explain that," I said. But what he said next changed everything. 2 years ago, the Johnson case, you needed witness protection for the star witness. I arranged it. Off the books. No paperwork. My pulse quickened. The Johnson case had put away 3 major dealers. The witness, a young woman named Nadine, had been terrified. Hutchinson had promised to keep her safe. "Where is Nadine now?" I asked. Hutchinson's smile was all teeth. "Safe. As long as we understand each other." At 10:03 a.m., I made a decision that would end his career. "Bailiff," I said, "please escort Chief Hutchinson to holding." Hutchinson didn't move. "You're joking." Contempt of court. Attempting to intimidate a judge implied threats against a protected witness. I looked directly at the cameras, and we're just getting started. His 3 deputies stood up in unison. The bailiff's hand moved to his radio. "Boys," Hutchinson said to his deputies, "show the judge what real authority looks like." The youngest deputy, maybe 25, took a step forward, then stopped, looked at the cameras, looked at me. "Deputy," I said. "What's your name?" "Lyle Morrison, Your Honor." "Deputy Morrison, are you here in official capacity?" He glanced at Hutchinson, back to me. "No, sir. Day off." "Then sit down before you join your boss in contempt charges." Morrison sat. The other 2 followed. Hutchinson's face went from red to purple. "You cowards," he spat at them. "After everything I've done for you." "Chief Hutchinson," I said, pulling the FBI file from under my papers. "Let's discuss what you've done, starting with the Riverside Motel seizure." His lawyer jumped up. "Your Honor, we haven't been provided discovery on—" "Sit down, Mr. Pike. Your client opened this door when he brought up the Johnson case. I opened the file. March 15th. You seized $47,000 from the Riverside Motel safe. The report says $12,000. That's a clerical error. 17 clerical errors? All reducing seized amounts?" The gallery murmured. Constance Hutchinson stood to leave. Her husband called out, "Connie, sit down. Don't you dare leave." She kept walking. "Mrs. Hutchinson," I said. She stopped at the door. "You may be needed as a witness. Please remain available." She turned, removed her sunglasses. Her left eye was bruised, fading, but visible. "I'll be right outside, Your Honor." Hutchinson's hands clenched into fists. "That's not what it looks like." "What does it look like?" I asked. At 10:14 a.m., the prosecution played their first recording. Vance held up a tablet. "Your Honor, we'd like to enter evidence. Audio recorded by local business owner Dale Matthews." On the recording, Hutchinson's voice was clear. "$500 a month, Dale. Call it insurance. Unless you want code enforcement finding violations." "That's illegal," Dale's voice responded. "I am the law in Millbrook. Pay up or shut down. Your choice." The recording ended. Hutchinson was shaking his head. "That's edited. Taken out of context." "Context?" I leaned forward. "What context makes extortion acceptable?" "I was conducting an undercover operation, testing for corruption." "Testing Dale Matthews? The man who runs a hardware store?" "Anyone can be dirty, Judge." Vance produced 4 more recordings, each one, Hutchinson demanding money. The barber shop, the diner, the auto repair shop, even the funeral home. "Grief makes people vulnerable," Hutchinson said on that recording. "But I can make sure the state doesn't ask questions about your paperwork. For a fee." But I didn't know the truth yet. Not all of it. At 10:31 a.m., Prosecutor Vance called a surprise witness. The state calls Deputy Chief Marvin Reeves. Hutchinson shot to his feet. "You son of a—" "Chief Hutchinson," I said. "One more outburst and you'll be gagged." Reeves took the stand. 15-year veteran, Hutchinson's right hand, until today. "Deputy Chief Reeves," Vance began, "how long have you been recording Chief Hutchinson?" 6 months. The courtroom erupted. Reporters typing. Cameras zooming. "You wore a wire?" Hutchinson shouted. "You?" Reeves looked at his former boss. "You changed, Rayford. When you started taking money, I reported it. When you threatened witnesses, I documented it. When you hit Constance—" "Objection," Pike called out. "Relevance?" "Mr. Pike," I said, "your client made this relevant when he tried to intimidate this court. Overruled. Continue." "Deputy Chief." Reeves pulled out a phone. I have video from the station. Security footage Chief Hutchinson didn't know existed. The prosecutor connected the phone to the courtroom display. The gallery gasped. On screen, Hutchinson in his office, counting cash, stacks of hundreds. The timestamp showed last Tuesday, 11:47 p.m. That money, Reeves said, came from the evidence locker. Case 2021 to 447, the Delgado bust. You planted that, Hutchinson said, his voice breaking. You and her together, pointing at Vance. Chief Hutchinson, I said, do you have proof of this conspiracy? I don't need proof. I know how these people operate. These people? Your own deputy chief? The prosecutor's office? They're all jealous. I cleaned up this county. Crime down 40%. Arrests up 60%. Arrests of business owners who wouldn't pay protection. Hutchinson fell silent. At 10:45 a.m., I'd heard enough. Chief Hutchinson, please rise. He stayed seated. I don't recognize your authority. Bailiff. Two bailiffs moved forward. Hutchinson stood slowly. Rayford Hutchinson, this court finds you in contempt. Bail is revoked. You'll be held pending trial on all charges. You can't do this. I'm the police chief. Not anymore. I turned to Reeves. Deputy Chief, I believe you're now acting chief. Please arrange for Mr. Hutchinson's badge and weapon to be collected as evidence. Reeves stood, walked to my bench, picked up the gold badge Hutchinson had slammed down earlier. Rayford, he said quietly, you taught me everything about being a cop. But somewhere along the way, you forgot the most important part. Don't lecture me, Marvin. We serve the law, not ourselves. At 10:52 a.m., they cuffed him. His own handcuffs taken from his belt. This isn't over, Hutchinson said to me as they led him past. You've made an enemy today, Judge. Mr. Hutchinson, I replied, loud enough for everyone to hear. I've made enemies before. They all thought their power protected them. They were all wrong. The cameras caught everything. His threats, his arrest, the way he stumbled when reality finally hit. But the moment that would go viral? When Deputy Morrison, the young one who'd stood up earlier, walked over and removed his badge. Set it on the defense table. I can't serve under someone who'd asked me to intimidate a judge, he said. I quit. The other two deputies followed. 3 badges on the table. 3 officers choosing integrity over loyalty. Hutchinson looked at those badges like they'd personally betrayed him. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Hutchinson took the stand against his lawyer's advice, claimed conspiracy, said I was biased, accused everyone from the FBI to the local newspaper of framing him. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. At sentencing, 6 weeks later, I gave him 15 years. Federal prison. No possibility of early release for 5. Your Honor, he said at sentencing, wearing orange now instead of blue, I spent my life protecting this community. No, I replied, you spent your career. There's a difference. A career is a job. A life is measured by character. And yours, Mr. Hutchinson, is bankrupt. Constance divorced him while he was in county lockup. She got the house, the pension, everything. Turned out she'd been documenting the abuse for years, just waiting for someone else to take the first shot. The 3 deputies who quit, Morrison and the others, they all got hired by neighboring counties, with recommendations from Acting Chief Reeves and Prosecutor Vance. 6 months later, I got a letter from federal prison, Hutchinson's handwriting. Judge Caprio, it read, I've had time to think, to really think. You were right about one thing. Power without principle is just tyranny with a badge. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to know I finally understand. I kept that letter. Not as vindication, but as reminder. This case taught me something I should have known after 38 years on the bench. Corruption doesn't announce itself with horns and fanfare. It creeps in through small compromises, through looking the other way, through believing your position makes you exceptional. Hutchinson had been a good cop once. 23 commendations over his career. Real ones, earned before the corruption started. But somewhere between protecting the community and protecting his power, he lost his way. The footage from that morning, Hutchinson slamming his badge on my bench, has been viewed 17 million times. News outlets still call asking for interviews. I decline them all, because justice isn't about viral moments or social media clips. It's about that business owner who can now operate without paying protection. That witness who can sleep knowing she's truly safe. Those 3 young deputies who learned that integrity matters more than rank. Last week, Acting Chief Reeves stopped by my chambers. Crime's down another 8%, he said. But more importantly, complaints against officers are down 70%. People trust us again. How's the department handling it? Day by day, Your Honor. We're rebuilding. The right way this time. He left something on my desk before leaving. Hutchinson's gold badge. Number 001. Evidence release, he explained. Thought you might want to keep it. As a reminder. I picked it up. Heavy. Cold. A symbol that once meant protection, twisted into a tool of intimidation. I handed it back. Give it to your training academy, I said. Let them use it to teach what happens when officers forget their oath. Cases like this remind us why justice matters, why checks and balances exist, why no one, not police chiefs, not judges, not presidents, stand above the law. Would you have shown more mercy? Less? I think about that sometimes. Hutchinson with his 15 years, his ruined reputation, his family gone. But then I remember Dale at his hardware store, finally free from extortion. Nadine, no longer a pawn in someone's power game. Deputy Morrison, choosing conscience over career. Justice isn't about punishment. It's about balance, about saying, this is the line, cross it, and there are consequences, badge or no badge. If cases like this matter to you, I share new stories 3 times a week. Stories where truth matters more than authority, where regular people stand up to power, where sometimes, just sometimes, the system works exactly as it should. Next time, I'll tell you about the senator who thought campaign funds were his personal ATM. He actually brought his accountant to court to explain why embezzlement was just creative financing. He's serving 7 years now. But that's a story for another day.